And station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
And Houston, this is station. We are ready for the event.
And Samantha, we'll let you kick it off.
Fantastic. It's been an honor and a pleasure today to welcome on board Crew-5, on board on Crew-Dragon Endurance. It's just fantastic to finally have you guys on board. And this is a very special crew. Because it's the first time that we have a Russian cosmonaut flying on a Crew-Dragon. So a very special welcome to Anna, who broke the ice on this crew swap that is so important for the resilience and the robustness of our operations on space station. It's also the third time that ISS has the pleasure of welcoming Koichi on board. So welcome back to your home in space, Koichi. And this is also a special flight because Duke and Josh are the very last 8 balls to make it to space. And so to celebrate this, we have a special gift. So without further ado, I'm sure your guys' family want to hear from you. So here's the mic.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Samantha. It's incredible to be in space. Mom, look, I'm finally in space. It's been such a pleasure training with this amazing crew, and we're looking forward to getting to work here on Expedition 68. We've had a chance to thank a lot of people in the past day and a half or so that we've been flying, but I don't know that I had a chance to thank my husband and son. Thank you guys so much. I love you, and Mom and Dad, and my sister Kirsten. Thank you.
I also want to thank Nicole's husband and son for lending her to us. You know, I've been very, very lucky my entire life to be a part of some amazing teams, and it enables us to do some absolutely phenomenal things. And to come up here and meet some of the greatest friends I've ever known and get to spend some time with them up here is just, it's breathtaking. Also, I am so thankful to my family for enabling me to do this. I know it's been a complete pain, but it is certainly worth it. And thank you to everybody who's enabled us to do this. And that doesn't mean just the people who know what they're doing. Everyone in my life has contributed in some small way to this, and I can't thank you enough.
Samantha, thank you for the warm introduction, and it's great to be back in Jersey, and this is like coming back to a home away from home for me, and I really appreciate my family's support for me to be able to do this. And I also like to thank everyone who supports the International Space Station Program, SpaceX, NASA, Roscosmos, CSA, European Space Agency, and of course my home agency, JAXA. I really appreciate all the help you provided to make this up, and I cannot wait to work with this wonderful crew on Expedition 68.
Yes, we overflow with emotions, with feelings, with glad. And really glad to share that time with the guys on the station. I really happy share my time with that people and with everybody who with us, who did a lot of job for existing all of that, and for all people who just glad in with us, glad for us. sharing with us your feelings. It's super for people. Теперь по-русски. Я очень рада.
Something in Russian. I'm so very happy.
Я очень рада, что я здесь, на
I'm
самом
extremely
деле.
happy that I'm
Я
here,
скажу по-русски,
really.
что много людей
I'd like to say in Russian, a lot of people are working hard and will keep working hard to make sure that everything, this our common manned space exploration will continue to exist, to develop further. We're here and we're living proof of it. You see, I was given flowers. This is so wonderful to have international friends and these communications here and on the ground. This is wonderful. And of course, my big hello to everybody on Earth, and to my family, to my husband, Angelina, my mom, my brothers, to everybody who was able to come and support me at the launch site. It was a miracle that you managed to actually make it to the launch site. And here you see this toy is a symbol of my city, Novosibirsk. His name is Gorodovichok. So, guys, everything is super.
And your families are awesome. And thank you also from our side for all you guys' support. And Crew-5, welcome to Expedition 68. And that concludes the event.
Thank you, station. We are now resuming operational audio communications.
You have a live view of Falcon 9 awaiting its 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time launch from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. Good evening and welcome to our launch coverage of the Galaxy 33, Galaxy 34 mission for our customer Intelsat. My name is Shiva, and I'm a space operations engineer here at SpaceX, and I'm joining you today from SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. Now, if you've been following this launch, you know that we stood down from our initial attempt on Thursday due to an abort at T-minus 30 seconds for a small helium leak. Since then, our teams have worked the issue, and we are once again go for launch. Galaxy 33 and Galaxy 34 are the first two of 7 satellites that will replace and refresh a large part of Intelsat's North America Galaxy fleet. The Galaxy 33 satellite will offer continuity for North America cable distribution customers, including HBO, Fox Networks, Starz, and Bally Sports. And the Galaxy 34 satellite will become Intelsat's newest protection satellite, which means it's a backup satellite for the constellation. Here's a bit more about the payloads we're flying on today's mission.
Intelsat operates the largest integrated space and ground network in the world, bringing reliable, resilient connectivity to billions globally. But as the foundational architects of communications technology, we're never done finding new ways to bring value to our customers.
Each launch is a critical step to ensure long-term continuity for the services that we deliver. For some customers, it's about reliability of their mission-critical service. For others, it's about getting the runway to grow their business.
And as our customers' needs grow, our network is evolving with them. At the same time that we're developing the first 5G software-defined ecosystem, we're continuing to strengthen our existing fleet.
Galaxy 33 will be used as a primary cable distribution asset, reaching 99.999% of all US cable subscribers. Galaxy 34, on the other hand, will be a protection satellite, which will ensure very high reliability for our cable distribution services. It will also be used to contribute news and sports content on an occasional basis.
These new satellites will be substantially more powerful, continuing to provide the same broad, consistent coverage as the ones they're replacing, while also helping to broaden future capabilities for the organizations we serve.
Those satellites are extremely important because they're going to help vacate the lower end of the C-band spectrum, which will be used by the mobile network operators to expand their 5G networks. Like the saying is, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a lot of people to build a satellite.
The entire Northrop Grumman team is just very proud to manufacture and deliver Galaxy 33 and 34 to Intelsat and support their commitment to their end customers around the globe.
We're very fortunate. We have some of the best people in the industry, and everybody contributed to this big success.
We're about 6 minutes away from liftoff, so let's get to know a little bit more about the rocket on your screen. This is our two-stage Falcon 9 vehicle. It's about 229 feet tall. That's slightly taller than a 21-story building. Now, the bottom 2/3 of the vehicle is called the first stage, or the booster. Its objective is to accelerate the vehicle through the Earth's atmosphere to space, and then it will separate from the rest of the rocket. Today's booster is flying for its 14th time, having previously supported the GPS-3 Space Vehicle 3 mission, Turksat 5A, Transporter 2, and 10 Starlink missions. Now, above the first stage, we've got the second stage. It has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine, and that will ignite just after the first stage separates about 2.5 minutes into the flight. The second stage is what will carry the Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites to orbit. Now, the satellites are safely enclosed inside the 17-foot diameter payload fairing, which is this large nose cone structure at the top of the second stage. It's made of carbon composites, and the fairing, its job is to protect the satellites as we make our way to orbit. The fairing is jettisoned once we get through the thicker parts of the Earth's atmosphere. That'll happen about 3 minutes into flight. Now, finally, we've got this large truss structure to the left of the vehicle. That's called the Transporter Erector, or the TE. We use it to roll out the rocket to the launch pad and raise it into this vertical launch position. The TE also routes the vehicle's fluids, power, and telemetry from ground systems to the rocket and the satellites until Falcon 9 switches over to internal power and then ultimately clears the pad at T-0. At that point, at liftoff, the Transporter Erector will retract even further to clear the way for Falcon 9's ascent. So you heard a call out there on the nets. So we also refer to the Transporter Erector as the strongback. You can see that the clamp arms have opened around the second stage, and we're beginning to slightly pull it away from the rocket as we prepare for liftoff. As we get to T-0, the TE will pull away even further using ground hydraulic systems at the rocket's base. And you can actually see a little bit there at the bottom. There's the launch mount that the TE is connected to. It's a hinge structure, and the ground hydraulic system helps pull that away, clearing the way for Falcon 9's ascent at T-0 just under 3.5 minutes from now. Now, coming up, we'll get two call-outs about a minute apart. First of those will be at about T-3 minutes. That'll be for LOX load, liquid oxygen loading complete on the first stage. And then shortly after, at about T-2 minutes, we'll get a similar call-out on the second stage for liquid oxygen loading complete. You just heard the call-out there for the first stage. So with that, propellants are fully loaded on Falcon 9's first stage. Between the two stages, there's about 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. And you can kind of see the white clouds forming around the vehicle. That's totally normal. We super chill that liquid oxygen, and as we're filling up the tanks, we're venting off a little bit overboard to give us more room to fill in more of the liquid oxygen. As that gas comes into contact with the moist Florida air, it actually causes water vapor to condense and form literal clouds around the vehicle. Looking like a beautiful day at Florida for today's launch attempt. If you're just joining us, that's coming up in about 2 minutes. Next major milestone here will be liquid oxygen loading complete on the second stage, and then followed at T-1 minute, Falcon 9 will transition into startup. Now what that means is that its internal flight computers call out there for liquid oxygen loading complete on the second stage. So that means that we are fully loaded with propellants. As I was just saying, at T-60, Falcon 9 will switch to startup, which means its flight computers will take over the rest of the launch countdown. And then at about T-2 seconds, we'll ignite those Merlin 1D engines for liftoff. The payloads continue to look healthy. Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. Weather is 90% go. The range is green. Call out there on the net for gas closeouts with that, and you can see some venting coming from the transporter erector. We just clear out the lines ahead of the liftoff. So again, totally normal part of the countdown.
Falcon is in startup.
So with that, the stages have begun pressurizing for flight. Falcon 9's computer is in control of the vehicle.
LD, go for launch.
Launch director polling, they are go for launch. So at about T-minus 40 seconds to go, all systems go, weather looking great, payload's looking healthy. Let's watch.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition, and liftoff of Falcon 9. Go Falcon, go Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34. Falcon 9 is pitching down range.
T-plus 40 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 successfully lifting off from Pad 40 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying Intelsat's Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites to orbit. Now, during ascent, we have begun tilting the engine, that's technically called gimbaling, and we've begun what's called a gravity turn. So we're beginning to move the rocket horizontally. We're still going up, but we're also going horizontally out
Falcon
over the
9 is
Atlantic.
supersonic.
Now, at this point, we're just a few seconds away for maximum dynamic pressure, max Q, right after we get supersonic.
Max Q.
With that, we are through the highest point of stresses as we're going up through the Earth's atmosphere. Now, going back to what I was saying about going horizontally, a rocket needs to go about 17,500 miles per hour to get into orbit. So our velocity is going to keep ticking up. You can see that on the left-hand side of your screen to take these satellites to their ultimate orbital destination. Coming up, we've got 3 events in quick succession. First of those will be MECO, that's main engine cutoff. This is where we shut down all 9 of the Merlin 1D engines on the first stage. Following that, we'll have stage separation. The first and second stages will separate. And then we'll have second engine start number 1, SES-1. That's where we'll ignite the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. So again, 3 events happening back-to-back. MECO, stage separation, SES-1. Those will happen about 20 seconds from now. Great shots from the ground. You can see as the atmosphere is getting less dense, the plume expanding behind the rocket.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC ignition.
There we go, those 3 events back to back. So with that, the first stage will start making its way back to planet Earth for recovery. Our second stage has a pretty long burn to go. Next major milestone here will be coming up at about T plus 3.5 minutes. That'll be fairing deployment. Now both of these fairings, oh, that's a great shot. You can see the first stage, I believe, on the right and the second stage on the left. And those periodic bursts you're seeing there from the first stage attitude control system, helping reorient it, get the heat shields down. Let's see if we'll also get to see fairings. Yep, you can see them.
Confirmed.
Left-hand side of your screen, those two white blobs coming off of the second stage are fairings. These fairings have flown 5 times each. We will be attempting to retrieve them today and use them on a future mission.
Both stages continue on nominal trajectories.
We're about T+4 minutes into today's mission. Had a successful liftoff just 4 minutes ago. We're in the first of 2 planned Merlin vacuum burns for satellite deployment. Left-hand side of your screen is Falcon 9's first stage. We've got a view looking down towards the engines. You can see that the grid fins have deployed in preparation for atmospheric reentry. On the right-hand side of your screen, a great shot of the Merlin vacuum engine glowing brightly with planet Earth in the background and some sunlight behind. The second stage on the right-hand side of your screen is carrying the Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites to orbit. Next major milestone is just under 2 minutes from now. That'll be the first stage's entry burn. For that, we'll ignite 3 of the Merlin 1D engines, starting with the center engine, and then 2 of the radial engines. And that's amazing. That's a great view. You can see we just launched at the perfect time here, so we're catching sunlight off of the top of the Earth's atmosphere. It's reflecting off of the plume of the rocket. I love to call this the space jellyfish or the space octopus. But at the altitude that the rocket is at, the sun hasn't quite set yet, so we're just seeing the plume of the sunlight reflecting. Fantastic. Now, as I was saying, entry burn coming up for the first stage, left-hand side of your screen. That burn helps slow down the first stage for recovery as we start hitting the thicker parts of the Earth's atmosphere. And during that entry burn, we're decelerating, firing the Merlin engines, but the plume of the rocket is coming back on the vehicle, and so that ends up leaving that nice soot deposit that we see on the surface of Falcon 9s when we get them back on recovery. You're seeing some white gas bursts on the left-hand side of your screen. That's from the attitude control system. We carry nitrogen gas on the first stage. Since you don't have an atmosphere to push off of in space, we have to produce some thrust to reorient the vehicle, and that comes from those nitrogen gas thrusters. Second stage burn continuing to look nominal.
Stage 1 FTS has saved.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
So again, 3 Merlin 1D engines igniting here, plume coming back on the vehicle, slowing us down. This burn just about 20 seconds long.
Entry burn shutdown.
And successful shutdown of the entry burn. So with that, the first stage is going to do a little bit of reorienting, make sure its heat shield is pointed down, and as we start getting into the thicker parts of the Earth's atmosphere, those grid fins start to become much more effective. And the whole reason for doing this is because we want to reuse this booster. Reusability is the key to lowering the cost of spaceflight. That enables us to make more investments in critical scientific research. And as I mentioned earlier, the first stage that's supporting today's mission is making this burn for the 14th time, having done it for GPS-3 Space Vehicle 3, Turksat 5A, Transporter 2, and 10 Starlink missions.
Stage 2 terminal guidance.
So with that call out for Stage 2 terminal guidance, we're coming up on second engine cutoff, or SECO, number 1.
Stage 1 is transonic.
That call out there indicating that we are passing through the speed of sound as we're getting through the thicker parts of the Earth's atmosphere. Next major milestone for the first stage will be its landing burn. Just a single Merlin engine will ignite, followed by landing leg deploy.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
And hopefully a soft touchdown.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Landing burn startup.
Engine cutoff.
You just heard the call out there for second engine cutoff on the second stage.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Stage 1 landing is confirmed.
Awesome. Successful
Stage 2
landing
nominal orbit insertion.
on our drone ship about
Expected loss of signal, Cape.
600 kilometers off the coast of Florida. You also heard in there was second engine cutoff on our second stage. So just handling them in order here. 146th recovery for an orbital class rocket, including first stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. Second stage completed its burn. It's in the nominal orbit, but the mission isn't over just yet. The second stage is going to embark on its first coast phase. Following that coast phase, we are going to light the Merlin vacuum engine for a second time. That'll happen about 26 minutes into the mission. So we're going to see you back here in about 17 minutes. In the meantime, enjoy the space tunes, enjoy this awesome view of Falcon 9 and the space jellyfish.
Expected loss of signal, Bermuda. Welcome.
Welcome back to the webcast of the Falcon 9 mission carrying the Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites for our customer Intelsat. Now, if you're just joining us, we've had a nominal mission so far. Falcon 9 launched on time at 7:05 p.m. Eastern from Space Launch Complex 40 in Florida. We successfully recovered the first stage on our drone ship, marking its 14th landing. And while that was happening, the second stage completed its first burn, taking the Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34 payloads into an initial parking orbit. Now we're about 15 seconds away from a second ignition of the Merlin vacuum engine, which will carry the second stage and those Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites into the orbit needed for payload deploy. And over the coast phase,
MVAC startup.
There's the call out there for MVAC startup. This burn will last about 45 seconds. And just before this, we had been chilling in the Merlin vacuum turbo pumps with liquid oxygen in preparation for the full flow. So this burn dramatically increasing the speed of the second stage, helping us to raise the apogee, or the highest point of the orbit, for payload deploy.
Nominal deploy orbit.
So with that call out there, we know a couple of things. Merlin vacuum shutdown occurred, and the call out there from operators showing that we are in the payload deploy orbit. Now, the Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites are still attached to Falcon 9's second stage at the top of the vehicle. Their deployments will begin in about 5 minutes. First will be the Galaxy 33 satellite, followed by Galaxy 34 about 5 minutes after that. So while we wait, we're going to go back to a coast phase. Please sit back, enjoy the views and our space jams.
signal HPK.
Welcome to the webcast for the Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34 mission. We had an on-time liftoff at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by successful ascent, stage separation, a first stage landing, and 2 second stage engine burns. Now, this mission has launched the first 2 of 7 satellites that will replace and refresh a large part of the Intelsat North America Galaxy fleet. For Intelsat, this is a huge milestone for a project that started more than 3 years ago. Intelsat has 7 C-band satellites that are contracted to replace the existing North America media satellites. 6 of those 7 satellites are slated to be launched before the end of this year. Now, we're coming up just a few seconds away from payload deployment of the first of those 2 satellites on board today's mission, the Galaxy 33 satellite.
Galaxy 33 deploy confirmed.
And you can see it just behind the Galaxy 34 satellite, gently floating off to perform the rest of its mission. Now, Galaxy 34 is still attached to Falcon 9's second stage. Its deployment will take place in about 5 minutes from now, so we're going to take another short coast phase, and we'll see you back in a few for Galaxy 34 deploy.
Expected loss of signal, confirm. Acquisition signal, Diego Garcia.
Hey again, we are nearing the end of our mission for today for our customer Intelsat. Now, about 5 minutes ago, we deployed the Galaxy-33 satellite, and now we're awaiting deployment of the second and final payload on today's mission. That's Galaxy-34 that you can see on your screen. Payload deployment coming up about the next 10 or 15 seconds.
Galaxy-34, deploy confirmed.
And Galaxy-34 going off to join the constellation and its partner satellite Galaxy-33. All of us here at SpaceX want to give a big thank you to our customer Intelsat for entrusting us with today's mission. We also want to give a shout out to the Range and the Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's mission. It's been a really exciting few days here at SpaceX. Tonight's launch concludes our 184th overall mission to date, our 46th launch this year, and our third launch just this week, including the launch of the Crew-5 astronauts to the International Space Stations. So, thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in and for your continued support. We hope you have a wonderful night and weekend.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
We are ready for the event.
All right, Sean, go ahead.
All right. Hey, we would just want to take this opportunity to express our thanks to the team that made this possible. We, Crew-4, launched on 27 April. We've been up here for almost 170 days. We've had an extraordinary experience. We've gotten a lot of great science done, and we're grateful to the whole team that made this possible. The scientists and researchers across the country, across the world, that have provided and partnered with us to provide great work for us up here. A huge thanks to all the folks that prepared us for this mission, our trainers at SpaceX, at NASA, and all of our international partner agencies, and the folks that have been working alongside us while we've been up here. Folks staffing our flight control consoles and working with us while we've been working on science. Folks there at Johnson Space Center in Huntsville, out at Hawthorne, and our partners in Japan, at ESA in Europe, and in Moscow. Thanks to all of you for making this a successful and extraordinary experience. We have a kind of a full house now, so we're looking forward to leaving the space station in the very capable hands of our colleagues. It's great to welcome them up here, and we know that they're going to have an extraordinary experience as well. But we look forward to handing over. We were mainly part of Expedition 67. We were glad to be a part of this first part of Expedition 68, and looking forward to seeing the amazing things that Expedition 68 does. So thanks to everybody, especially our families.
And I think we're ready to move to the change of command part.
Station, that concludes the farewell remarks portion of the event. Please proceed with the setup for the change of command ceremony and begin when you're ready.
So good morning or good afternoon, everyone. It's a very peculiar time here on Space Station these days. We have a fast and furious rotation of crews. So we just had a change of command ceremony a couple of weeks ago, and now we get to do it again. I just want to say how a privilege it's been to serve as a commander for this short period of time, short but intense. It's been amazing welcoming guys on board, seeing how well you went from being new and someone helpless for the first-time flyers to already looking like space ninjas in just a few days. So it's just been amazing, and it's been, I feel just fortunate that I had this chance of reliving my own days as a rookie flyer through you, and all that sense of wonder and discovery. And it's been such a pleasure and an honor. And to my crewmates of Crew-4, with whom I've shared this entire experience from training through spending our entire expedition up here. It's been a pleasure, it's been a privilege, and I've enjoyed every moment, and I've learned from each and every one of you every day. So thanks so much for being such an amazing, amazing crew. And to you, Sergey, I couldn't imagine a better person to whom leave the command of a space station. We've known each other for a long time. In fact, it was over 10 years ago that you served. You were still in basic training, but you served as commander of our simulated Soyuz crew as we went through winter survival. And I think I told you even back then how much I appreciated already your leadership style. You know, you're very calm but deliberate leadership, and you having an eye for the needs of everyone and taking care of the well-being of everyone on the crew. And I know that you will continue to do so and exercise that amazing leadership quality you have for this crew. You guys will do great. I know you have a very busy expedition ahead of you with a lot of demanding, intense ops on both the Russian side and the US-West side. And I know you will do amazing, and it's been an honor to get you all started on your way to do amazing things in the next few months. A big thank you, of course, to the extended team in the different control centers. We've really always appreciated you guys' support, and I'd say especially the very open communication lines, the openness to our thoughts and inputs and feedback, and that willingness to really go above and beyond to set us up for success here. So greatly appreciated. A big thank you to also to the leadership and of the space station programs in all the agencies. A special thank you from my side to the European Space Agency, the leadership, but also all the ops teams that have supported me and really have bent over backwards to provide the best support possible. And as always, a special word of thank you and affection to Italy as my country, and gratefulness for all the opportunities afforded to me. First and foremost, the opportunity of serving up here on the International Space Station. So, Sergey, without further ado, I would like to start with something that's become, I think, a bit of a tradition. So this is for when a real emergency happens. You've got the cake in the tube to help anyone out who is really having a bad day.
Definitely this evening.
or this evening, before or after we undock. But then, more seriously, I would like to hand you over officially the key of the space station. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Samantha. I'm also very glad to join with you in one crew, as one crew. And of course, you are great commander. Can I speak Russian? Я хотел сказать, что Сегодня мы перелистываем очередную страницу истории МКС, Международной космической станции, и это становится еще одной ступенькой на пути освоения космоса. Я хочу поблагодарить весь экипаж Crew-4 и ребят, которые уже сейчас находятся на Земле, Саманту, Джессику, Чел, Роба, Олега, Сергея и Дениса за их теплый прием, во-первых, на станцию и за бережное отношение к станции. Спасибо, что сделали так много за эти полгода, которые вы провели здесь. И естественный ход событий на МКС, он продолжается. Мы должны сейчас полгода работать. У нас очень интересный большой план впереди. Поэтому я хочу пожелать вам в первую очередь штатной расстыковки, безопасного полета, мягкой посадки, самое главное. И хочется сказать, что мы говорим до свидания и до новых встреч с экспедицией 67 и экспедиция 68. Вперед! Удачи нам!
Thank you, station, and congratulations. We are now resuming operational audio communications.